I want to leave my girlfriend who was raped. I left, went home, and attempted to focus on how I could help her. I started Googling how to deal with an RP survivor and what to expect. She started going to therapy, initially 2 times a week. Then after 2 months, it went down to 1 day a week. In the meantime, she finally made contact with me and asked to meet at a coffee shop. I got there, and she was already there waiting. At this point, she was so medicated that I was dealing with a zombie for the most part. There was no emotion, and she was very methodical in her speech. Basically, she wanted to get together that day to tell me that she couldn't go out with me for a while until she got past some issues she was dealing with. Of course, I told her I understood. This was almost a month after the attack, and this was our first conversation by herself, so I was already living under this assumption. I told her I would be there for her and that whatever she needed, whether it be space, a shoulder to cry on or anything, I was there for her. I started to tell her that I loved her, and she stopped me. She told me that right now she didn't want to hear that and that I had to respect her wishes. I was once again a little hurt and frankly surprised, but I said whatever she wanted. She started texting me the next day, little things, nothing important, but I thought it was a big step in getting back to where we were. This went on for another month and a half. I finally asked her at the month-and-a-half mark if we could meet for dinner. She didn't reply for 2 days and then said that she had to wait to talk to her therapist. Finally, she agreed to this but set the date for another month away. Now mind you, this is almost 4 months after the attack, and so far I've had 1 physical conversation with her in person and 1 bizarre conversation with her and her family. I need to mention this, I am not being updated on her progress by anyone. Granted, I realize that I am not officially family nor am I entitled to anything, but it would have been nice to just get a text or call or something from someone telling me that she was doing good in therapy or was not, or anything. We went out to eat at a small bistro that we ate at all the time. I met her there and I was waiting for her to show up. After sitting for a half-hour waiting, I texted to see what was up and I just got a text saying, "On my way." She finally arrived and sat down. I asked her how she had been and she snapped at me and told me not to ask her personal questions. We ate, and after dinner I wanted to just sit and talk because I missed the person I had talked to almost every day for the previous 3 years. But when she was done eating, she said that she was ready to go home. I asked her if she could stay for just a few minutes to talk, but I could see that she was becoming physically anxious, and I did not want to upset her. So I said that I loved her and missed her. She just walked away. She went back to texting me the next day like nothing had been wrong. We actually started to see each other once a week for lunch, and she was getting more and more comfortable with being out, so she sat and talked a while. And she had also started a new job, which she told me about. This went on for another 4 months. I'm happy to see her and all, but honestly, I'm very lonely, and we have not even so much as held hands. Then one day she didn't show up for lunch. I texted to see if she was okay, no reply. I called her parents to see if they knew where she was, and to make sure she was okay. I got the runaround from them, and by this time I was starting to get upset because I didn't want to know where she was at or anything. I just wanted to know if she was okay. After actually saying that, her mum said yes, she is okay, but don't expect to hear from her for a while. Well, that made me start thinking she had had a relapse and was in the hospital, but what could I do? All I did was go home and try to take my mind off of it. 2 weeks passed with nothing from anybody. I'm trying my best to be reasonable here, but basically I called her sister and asked if she was still alive or what. She knew I was getting frustrated, so she apologized and said that her sister told them specifically not to let me talk to her. At this point, I broke down. I don't know what I've done wrong here. I have not pushed her. I have not tried to get her to be with me in any way other than to just talk to me, and even then, I have had very generic conversations so as not to upset her. I then got a text from her asking if I would meet her at an address I wasn't familiar with, but once I looked it up, I determined this was the therapist's office. I was told to meet her there at 4, which meant I had to leave work early to get there. I checked in at the front desk and I was told that the therapist wanted to speak to me alone for a few minutes. She came in, and I now know where the parents were getting this from because after formally greeting me, she then started to provide me with a list of do's and don'ts. She then told me that my girlfriend wanted to speak to me and had something to tell me. I went in, and she was sitting on one chair, and I was instructed to sit in the other. She had a box of tissues and had been crying. The therapist told me that I was there because my girlfriend had something to tell me and that she wanted the safety of the therapist's office to feel safe. She then proceeded to tell me that the reason she did not meet me for lunch that day was that she was with another guy, somebody from her new job, and that they had been intimate with each other. She might as well have taken a weapon out and shot me. It couldn't have hurt more. I just dropped my head and began to cry. The therapist then piped in with some logic about her taking back her sexuality since she was attacked, and how this wasn't cheating in the same sense of cheating. My girlfriend then proceeded to tell me that she did not want to lose me and that she was just very messed up in the head and that it was a one-time thing and blah blah blah. I felt very trapped at that moment. I felt like I was ganged up on, and the more I sat, the madder I got. I finally just said to her, "You haven't so much as held my hand in the past half year, yet you can go have some guy you met at work while I sit like an idiot waiting for my junior high-like date." This, of course, caused her to go into hysterics, and the therapist asked me to leave. I apologized and told her to text me if she wanted to keep working this out. I got that text later that day. Now she was all chatty and crap, telling me that this was the worst mistake of her life and to please talk to her. I told her that I didn't know if I could go on with this, but agreed to meet her. I flat out told her right up front when I saw her that for me to even consider going forward with this, she had to cut this other guy off, period. She told me that it was impossible because they worked together, and I told her that I'm sorry, but I wouldn't even consider it if she was going to see this guy every day. She decided to find another job, and after talking with my sister, who I have told everything to, she said that while it is not common, some women do attempt to have intimacy after being attacked so that they feel like they have power again. Now, why I am not the one she did this with, I have no idea, but I know I feel like I am being punished for something I did not even do. She changed jobs and we went back to our lunches. I did this twice when I told her that I was getting a little tired of just meeting for lunch and doing nothing else, so she agreed to come over to watch TV with me. That has been it up until tonight. Tonight she came over and we watched 2 movies and ate pizza. During the second movie I tried to give her a kiss, nothing more, just a kiss. She backed away as though I was a cross and she was a vampire and told me she was not ready for that yet. Okay, not my finest moment here, I admit, but I told her that it's been a year and a month, and I have not tried one goddamn thing with her or forced her into anything, and yet she willingly had sex with some other guy months ago, but here I am still waiting to hold hands. She, of course, started crying, but this time I was not as fast to apologize. I did apologize for the tone of my voice and told her that I would never try and force her to do anything against her will, but honestly I feel like I've been kept on the outside. I've been cheated on. I don't give 2 craps what they call it. She willingly had unprotected sex with someone else, and I feel like I have done everything to try and be a supportive boyfriend. I told her that honestly I didn't want her to text me until I decided what I was going to do. I didn't want to be unfair to her, but by the same token, a year is a long time, and we are really no closer to being back to normal than we were 6 months ago, and I have no idea how long this will go on. Now, here is the part where if you didn't think I was a jerk before, you will now. I am just tired of not having sex. Look, I certainly understood not trying anything right afterwards and even months afterwards, but it's been over a year and we're not even holding hands, and frankly, the fact that she has been with someone else since this incident is underlining the issue. So I told her that I was going to think things through and promised to talk with her next week sometime, but as it stands tonight, I think I'm done. I love her, I hate the idiot who ruined both of our lives. I know this isn't her fault, and I hate that I feel like crap no matter what I do. If I stay, I'm going to be resentful, and even if she comes over tomorrow and has sex with me, it will feel like either pity sex or desperation sex. But I know ending this will be punishing her for something that isn't her fault either. And update first, let me say that when I wrote my first post, I was obviously in a very bad place. That night's incident was very fresh on my mind, and the pain I was feeling at that moment was more than I could handle. I don't think I made it clear enough how much I loved and still love her. Letting this relationship go is like saying I have to lose an arm. I do want to clear up a couple of things. As I said, I wrote that while I was still very upset and hurt, so I think I was probably either not clear enough or maybe painted a couple of people in a bad light. First, to her parents, yes, I've known her parents since 3 weeks into our relationship. They have never been anything but kind to me, and we have eaten at their house twice a month since we have been together. My family has always celebrated Christmas on Christmas Eve, so I have spent 3 of the past 4 Christmases at our house with them. I do not fault or blame them. Their child was brutalized and traumatized, so they circled the wagons around her, which, while I do not have any kids, I certainly understand. She was their top priority. Her dad has been as hurt as anyone by this, and I have been heartbroken to see this giant of a man, he's honest to God 6x are broken like this. Her sister has honestly been my lifeline. She has talked with me and has always tried to be as open as she can with me. Yes, they knew about the cheating, and that is why I got the runaround. No, they did not support her decision to do this. However, they did not want to be involved other than to be there for her. Second, her therapist might be incompetent. I have no way to judge that. However, in rereading what I typed, I think I made it come out worse than it really was. She did not try to excuse what she did, nor did she try to justify it like I implied. After a few seconds of awkward silence that was only interrupted by my crying, she said that some women do that. But my girlfriend was my best friend. I confided in her for everything. I have some work associates that I am friendly with, but I am hundreds of miles from where I grew up, and all of my friends are there, and either married or very career-driven. So I don't have what you would call a real support network. My sister has been there for me to a point, but there is a real complication to that. Even my girlfriend and my sister are best friends. In fact, it's how I met my girlfriend. So while my sister loves me and wants what's best for me, she is also very sympathetic to her friend and doesn't want me to do anything to hurt either of us. She does not support her in the cheating, but is trying to smooth that over. And she does not know, though, that my girlfriend and I have not been intimate since the rape. Honestly, that is none of her business, and I think she would be really disgusted with me if I let her think that this even had anything to do with it. My girlfriend has been blowing up my phone with texts since Sunday night. She is saying everything that I have wanted her to say since about a month after the rape. I've gotten more "I love you"s in the past day than I have in the past year. I've only responded twice to her, so she knows I'm reading them. That is making the next part very hard to do. I came to the decision last night early this morning that for my own mental well-being, I can't do this anymore. Believe me when I say that I know what a failure it is and how horrible it makes me feel. So here is my plan. I know it is chicken crap on my part, but I have written a letter and I am going to send it to her therapist along with a note to the therapist explaining what to do for my girlfriend to read in her office. That way there is immediate support for her. I don't want her to feel any more abandoned than what I'm going to be doing. That is heartbreaking to type, by the way. When she goes for her appointment Friday morning, I will then send emails to her parents and a text to her sister informing them of what is happening so that way they can be there for her when she gets out. Here is, word for word, the letter I have written to her. The only thing that is different is that I am not using her or her therapist's real names here. Please read it and let me know if I am out of line, if I am too cruel, or if this will trigger any type of mental trauma related to her rape. I have zero intention of inflicting any more pain than what is normal with a breakup. Dear Sarah, I know that this is not the best way of doing this, but honestly, if I had to look you in the eyes, I know I could not go through with this. I have loved you since the first month we have been together, and the first 3 years of our relationship were the best 3 years of my life. You were my everything, and I know that we had both talked about marriage a lot, and I know and believe with all of my heart that we were going to be married. Nothing would have made me any happier or prouder than to be called your husband. I don't know how to say this because every fiber of my being does not want to say this, but for my own mental health going forward, I have to let you go. Believe me when I say the decision did not come easily to me, nor can I say that it is not heartbreaking on my end. I have always and still love you, but I can't be with you anymore. You need to heal, and you need to be able to 100% focus on you while you are healing, and having to worry about me and my feelings is only getting in the way of your healing. I will always hate the jerk who did this to you. He has ruined so many lives that life in prison seems a lot more appropriate than what he got, but I don't get to make that call. I know holding on to hate is not healthy, but he has ruined my life as well as yours. I know you are going to hate me for this. I don't blame you at all. I know that you feel abandoned, but please understand I have done everything in my power to be there for you. I wanted to be more involved in your healing, but for whatever reason, I was somewhat excluded from being a significant part of your inner circle. This has left me feeling very lonely and alienated from you and your family. I wanted nothing but the best for you and wanted to be there for you, and I hope I was whenever you would let me. I won't lie, you seeking comfort in the arms of another while still to this day denying me any affection has weighed very heavily on me. I did then and I do now forgive you, but forgiving does not take away the soul-crushing pain that comes along with that. I understand to a point why you might have done it. I don't agree with it and I never will, but I may see why. However, that has nothing to do with the fact that we are 1 year and a month past your incident, and you still treat me as though I did something wrong or will do something wrong to you. When you withdrew the other night from my attempt at a kiss, I knew then that you were still in need of healing, and I have no idea how long that will take, but I can't put my life on hold indefinitely, which is where we are still. I know it is very selfish of me, but I need affection. I need both mental and physical intimacy. Our conversations have been both generic and bland for the past year, which, believe me, I can understand why, but we used to spend hours talking about our future and what we wanted. Now, at best, we talk about what movies we want to watch. What I am doing is in no way because of what happened to you. That event was horrible and life-changing for you, and I never ever had a second thought about you because of it. This is all about your recovery and how you have to heal. For whatever reasons you may not even know yourself, you have completely distanced yourself from me. I've tried with all of my heart to get back to you, but it is painfully apparent that I am no closer to you now than I was right after the incident. Also, to be very clear, so you do not think this is about anything else, there is no one else. I am not seeing anyone. I don't have eyes for anyone, nor do I think anytime soon I will. I am not now, nor have I ever cheated on you. I hope with all of my heart for you to be fully healed soon. I want you to be happy. I hope someday you can look back on our time together with fondness and find it in your heart to forgive me. I will always love you. This breaks my heart more than you will ever know. Love, Chad.